Hi, this is Steve Lentini, and I'm your host for the podcast Different Thinking for Different Times. This is Season 1, Episode 13. One of the reasons that I've spent so much time talking about developing a level of thinking above one's thinking, and that we're mostly in a state of sleep, that we're victims to circumstance, that's how our brain is wired, having us prefer to be a victim than a powerful co-creator, and that waking up is becoming that conscious creator of a future and getting excited about it. And that's getting excited about it and feeling the feeling of arriving at your destination long before it occurs. That's one of the laws of manifestation. And Napoleon Hill once said that no man, I'd like to say no person, has a chance to enjoy permanent success until he or she begins to look in a mirror for the real cause of all their mistakes. We have to take responsibility for our life and give up the story that we have that someone did something to us, that some group of citizens is doing something to us, that a spouse did something to us, a relationship partner did something to us, a boss did something to us, a government's doing something to us. When none of that is true, we are not victims of circumstance, as Werner Erhard once said. George Ivanovich Gurdjieff said that there are two things in life that are infinite: the stupidity of man and the mercy of God. And I chuckle at that. And that stupidity is the place where we're asleep because we believe our automatic thoughts, which lead to an automatic response. Those are the angry outbursts. Those are the places where we're upset that somebody thinks differently than us, or has a different political view, or they look different than us. They do things differently than the way we do them. And can you imagine if we were all the same? If we just looked the same and did everything the same, then there would be no growth in that. There would be no climbing the staircase in life, right? There'd be no journey to it. We'd all be pretty bored. And as you know, what I experienced on November 18th, 2002 is that the infinite is way beyond the thinking that we have in this life. It's way beyond that. I knew immediately that I was one with everything and nothing. And that was quite an experience. And to learn immediately that everything I had strived for in this life, all the things that I thought defined me, the jobs, the houses, the books written, the movies produced, the books published for others, all of those things didn't define me. And in an instant, they were gone. Multiple houses, the income that I thought defined me, all of it was worth nothing. And then what I learned is that the good we do is what's somehow etched into the fabric of time. And that if we spend a life in useful service to others, and it could be the work that we do, it would probably enrich us, but we wouldn't care because we would be doing the work we're supposed to do. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing the work that I'm supposed to do. And I didn't care that in the beginning, it didn't make me as much money as other things I did, but I did both. It wasn't either or, that I work for people and or do my work. It was both. It was I worked for people and I did my work. And then gradually it led to full-time, where I don't work for other people. I have clients and I certainly work for my clients, but it's only doing the work that I love. Even in my sales training, I talk about waking up and having a conscious mind to create the future in sales or in business, in leadership. I do leadership training and culture work, helping companies develop the culture that they want, and helping employees as a coach wake up to their power and not be a victim. And if they have complaints, to bring them to those they have a complaint about, whether it's their boss or their spouse, wherever they have a complaint in life, is to do something positive with it. And that our brain is mostly wired to be negative, and that this work is going to the neuro gym of positive thinking, being awake. And even when we feel like we're a little bit sad or down, or it's not working out the way we want, it's to just notice that and observe it, and then switch your mind, is to have the thought, what else? What would I like more of? Because whatever we focus on, we get more of. That's how it works. But you have to prove that to yourself, as I said. And that's the purpose of this life, is to become a conscious creator, and you have more fun doing it, because you don't know if you'll be gone before I finish this episode. Maybe you'll never hear this episode, but if you do hear it, you don't know when you click end that you might not need an ambulance like I did. Just 1 second here, the next second gone. Never had any symptoms. So when you live a purposeful life, doing what you love, even if you're loving what you do and then part-time doing what you love, you bring that consciousness to everything that you do. Is where the typical human thinking is, I'm going to hate my job until I can love what I do. And that's not the way it works. So if you're angry and you hate your job, you're just going to get more of that, more to be angry about and more to hate. Here's another quote from Napoleon Hill. Fortunate is the person who's learned the most certain way to get is to first give through some sort of useful service. So if you don't like your job, you're not crazy about it, but you do the best you can and bring a good attitude, knowing this will begin to bring me what I want, because you're building a universal resume. You're honoring that which created you, and it doesn't matter what you call it. You're honoring that creative life force that made you. And yes, there's religions that everybody's got a different view of how it works. I can tell you there were no religions on the other side, only pure consciousness, and it doesn't care what you call it. For me, it's God. It doesn't care what you call it. It didn't say, welcome Christian, or welcome Muhammad, or welcome Mr. Buddha. And I pause to have you all catch up and think about this thinking, because it can be challenging for the person who believes their thoughts, who feels like they have a right to not like someone else because of their religion, or because of their politics, or because of their color, or because of their race, or because of the way they talk. That's your own brain showing you what it looks like to be that. What it looks like to be an angry racist, or an angry leftist, or an angry right person. You're just going to get more to be angry about. But you have to prove that to yourself. And so Napoleon Hill, in the laws of success, there are definite laws of success. For example, if you have a talent, this is Brendan Francis, I quote, if you have a talent, use it in every way possible. Don't hoard it. Don't dole it out like a miser. Spend it lavishly like a millionaire intent on going broke. That means in whatever you do, go all out. If you have a talent, go all out. But I say to people, I urge people to bring their full consciousness to whatever they're doing, even if you're not 100% happy. If you're not 100% happy in a relationship, get over yourself. You met that person for a reason. And when you get over yourself, things just amazingly turn. I'm not sure how it works, but I can tell you that the more I work on myself, the better my life is. Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Dream big and live on purpose with a passion. And waking up is like what Marcel Proust once said, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. that if you're running from every job, if you're running from every relationship, if you're running from your family, it's not a new landscape that's going to help you. It's just accepting people as they are and looking at your circumstances as you created them, looking in the mirror. Aristotle said, in the arena of human life, the honors and rewards fall to those who show their good qualities in action. To do the best you can and showcase your good qualities and watch your life change. It happens, but you have to believe it. The person who masters him or herself is delivered from the force that binds all creatures. That's Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Let me say it again. The person who masters him or herself is delivered from the force that binds all creatures. Binding people stuck in a lower level of existence, not people that are reaching their dreams. That successful people understand how it works. Napoleon Hill said, conceit is a fog that envelops a man's real character beyond his or her own recognition. It weakens his or her native ability and strengthens all of their inconsistencies. Conceit is a fog. When you think you're better than someone else, that means somewhere you think you're less than others, and you're on that ladder of life looking for something outside of you to validate who you are. You are a child of the force that flung the stars into space. You are a child of the universe, no less than anything that exists in the universe. And actually more than certain single cell creatures, but we don't know what they experience because we are multi-cell, trillions of cells. But again, this universe, this thing we live in could be so large that maybe we're a tiny cell on its arm, and that a hurricane is when it brushes its arm or scratches its arm. We have no idea. We think we're the biggest thing in the universe. But think about this for a second. For every little thing that we cannot see, isn't it also a possibility that there are things so big that we cannot see them? So to wake up in life is to create a life that you're grateful for. Napoleon Hill said, a careful inventory of all your past experiences may disclose the startling fact that everything has happened for the best. But we can only see that later because, as Marcus Bach said in his book Serendipity, he said that humans suffer from the pain of wanting to see tomorrow today. He called it, the Greeks apparently called it apokalatastasis, meaning the syndrome of wanting to see tomorrow today, and we can't. But when we look back, and I urge you all to, not with regret, but to look at your life like a puzzle. If I gave you a puzzle and said I threw out 50 pieces, whether it was a 500 or 1,000 piece puzzle, if I threw out 50 pieces, you'd look at me and say, that's not a gift. I can't put it together. That is your life. We couldn't put you together without every piece. It's like an ingredient. We couldn't make a cake if we leave out some of the best ingredients, maybe even some of the minor ones. They wouldn't taste so good. That's your life, is to begin to accept it just the way it is, and to begin imagining the life that you want and work backwards from there and live differently in your mind. Jesse Jackson said, dream big dreams. Others may deprive you of your material wealth and cheat you in 1,000 ways, but no one can deprive you of the control and use of your imagination. People may deal with you unfairly, as people often do. They may deprive you of your liberty, but they cannot take from you the privilege of using your imagination. In your imagination, you always win. As Catherine Ponder said in her books on prosperity, use the picturing power of your mind and begin to unlearn everything that you now have learned. Right up until now, everything has been limited thinking, acorn brain, small-minded thinking. Nothing small-minded is where the Creator is, where whatever created this amazing existence, I was there. And where you come from, it's nothing like we have here on earth. And we have the small-minded thinking so that we can learn over time to rise above it. And if you were there, like I was, on November 18th, 2002, and like I said, I hope it's not tonight for you, but if you were there like I was, it's amazing. It's amazing. And everything here is small-minded compared to what pure consciousness is like, what the life force is like, what the God is like, the divine, the goddess, the Buddha, the Christ consciousness. It doesn't matter what you call it. The Abraham and Moses consciousness, the Muhammad consciousness. It doesn't matter. None of that was here. It's all small-minded thinking. And the reason we have all these differences is so we can overcome them. Anatole France said, to know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. To know is nothing at all. To imagine is everything. When I was only in pure consciousness without my body, I had an immediate knowing that I was one with everything and nothing. Interesting, right? That there was nothing from here. No one was there applauding my diplomas. No one was there applauding my spiritual beliefs or my religion. No one. What was there was pure love, pure consciousness. And the words, even the words love don't describe it. It's way beyond anything we think of. There was no vengeance or revenge or hell. In fact, there was no mention of sin. Only the good I had done, the lives I had touched. And you know how you feel when you do good. And that's my urging in this podcast, is to begin to change your mind, to wake up to the life that you can create, and to imagine how many people you can help if you're doing the work you love. You can give of your time, treasure, and talent. And it doesn't matter how big any of those are, because any piece you give is doing good, and it's etched on the fabric of time. And you'll feel great for doing it. Questions, you can email me, Steve at stevelentini.com. That's Steve at stevelentini, L-E-N-T as in Tom, I-N-I.com. You can challenge me. If you know someone that wants to be interviewed, I can link up a conference call. There's lots of things that we can do so that we can have a dialogue back and forth. If you've had a near-death experience like I did, or a death experience as I call it, or a croaking experience as I did, then you too know that this thinking that we have here is really small-minded. And humans, of course, go around beating their chests like some groups point out that they're better than others. That's small-minded. There is no one that's better than anyone. We all have different journeys. I wish you a great journey, and I'll see you next week. Or at least you'll hear me. Thanks.